Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Real Pod. I am so excited about today's episode. So excited because we are joined by, I think, one of the internet's biggest comfort creators. She is known and loved by so many people, and that is Elise Meyers. With a combined following across social media of over 12 million people, she is known for her comedy content, her relatable bits, and just encouraging people to love themselves, own their mental health, and feel seen. She's one of the rare people out there that you're happy has a platform and you're like, yes, I'm so happy this many people are consuming her content and her videos because this is the positivity and the goodness that the world needs. And not only is she all of those incredible things, but now she's an author. Elise's new book, That's a Great Question, I'd Love to Tell You, is out everywhere October 28th. So if you love Elyse and you enjoy this episode, be sure to support her and go grab a copy of her new book. It is really cool how she created it. It's so true to her. It's a bunch of poems. She defines the book as almost a modern art museum. I was so grateful to read a handful of poems early. And when I tell you that I felt seen in all of them, she's such a beautiful way of writing and relating to other people. I truly mean it. And we're going to talk about some of my favorites today. In addition to that, on today's episode of Real Pod, you're going to learn a few things. The first, how to get out of your head and the spiral of constantly overthinking yourself and your life and into the present moment where you can feel grounded and centered. I loved Elyse and I's conversation on this. I hope you do too. We're also going to talk about why body neutrality is Elyse's preferred approach to accepting her body. I think this offers a new take for people who maybe feel like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying positive affirmations is cringy. Don't worry, Elyse agrees with you and she's going to share a different solution. And we're going to talk about the two biggest things that Elyse learned when she took her break from the internet so that you can maybe look at the habits in your own life and see if they're still serving you. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out. This one goes to Danny, who left a 5-star review and said, "This is my first time listening to Real Pod and everything you said in your most recent episode was so healing. I felt so seen in what you were saying about the highs and lows with anxiety. And I feel like this podcast really speaks to a lot of people who feel trapped in labels. I loved hearing a new perspective." Danny, thank you. This is so sweet. I wish I knew what episode you were referring to. Maybe it was the most recent Chaotic Life update. That would be my bet. But Danny, I so appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. And thank you for these kind words. If you are enjoying Real Pod, which I hope you are, and I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to listen, please feel free to leave me a review and let me know if you're enjoying the show. It really helps us out. And you could be the special shout out on next week's episode. Without further ado, let's dive in to this episode of Real Pod with the one and only Elise Meyers. Elise, welcome to Real Pod.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I feel like I've noticed that you have sort of not had the quintessential like influencer effect that people critique a lot. And what I mean by that is like on paper, you're wildly successful, millions of followers. I'm sure countless brands want to work with you, but you're still so normal and like down to earth. Is there a reason for that? Was that something cautious for you of like, I want to keep my life precious and the same, or I'd love to hear.
That's a good question. There's a few answers, I think. Number one, I've always said I feel really lucky that this happened to me when I was older and like more established in my life. Being married, having kids, what I do online will always be second and take a backseat to my normal, just everyday life. And I definitely can see that if this happened to me at like 18, 21, even married without kids, like it totally would have had the potential to change every single aspect of my life. I don't think I would be living in Nebraska right now. I think that I would have the bougiest house, dude. Like there's no point in doing all that because like I have 2 little kiddos that just take my time and I love that. And that's my priority. And so I think that naturally has like grounded me, which I'm grateful for. I also think that I really like my life to be as simple as it possibly can. So even like the brand deals that come in, I work with maybe 1 out of every 50 that like come into my inbox because I'm not doing this to be busy. I picked this job over my web development career because it opened up my schedule. It helped me be home more and I got to work less and I made more money. And so like what I'm not going to do is load my schedule up with a bunch of shit that takes me away from my family when I picked this life to be home more with my family. And so I think that is also a natural filter that kind of keeps me focused in what I'm doing. And then also I do a lot of cool things with my kids and I don't post them on the internet. So, if we move or if we go do something fun, people just don't see it.
Yeah. Something that stuck out to me in what you said was this word simple, because I do think we live in a world now where everything is over complicated.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I think we're just kind of brainwashed to always want more and bigger and better. And my husband and I talk about that a lot because, especially this type of career, it is what you make it. Like, to your
Hmm.
point, you don't have to do 50 deals, or you
Mm-mm.
could, right? I think a lot of people out there are like, should I be doing more? Can I do more? And I know actually there's a part in your wonderful new book that just came out where you're talking about this exact thing, right? I was
Yeah.
cracking up, the hand coming out from the water, and you're like, she's happy.
She's content. Yeah. That end line of that whole poem, I don't know what to call it. Like, it's like a visual poem, I think, and more. That idea of like, look at her, she's drowning in all of this happiness. Like, there are so many times in my life where I thought I knew what I wanted. And then when I got it, I'm like, this is actually so polar opposite to what I actually want. And it doesn't fulfill me in the way that I want it to. I think that I always struggle with wanting to do more. There's never a part in me that feels completely content. I think that that is what makes me me. I think that a little bit of my neurodivergence is added in there. I am constantly having one thing that I'm like hyperfixated on that I love. And as soon as I master that, I want to go to the next thing, which is why my content sometimes seems like all over the place. Like, what does this girl actually do? And like, what does she like? Everything all the time, no matter what. I just love it. But it ebbs and flows, to be honest. I go through seasons where I just push really hard and I make a lot of content and I input a lot, I output a lot. And then I go through seasons where I just have to be okay with knowing that like being home and like resting is enough. And having a really good, like healthy soundboard and Jonas, my husband, has really helped because I grew up as a kid, accomplishing things was how I got people's attention. There wasn't a lot of like space for me. Like it was all kind of going crazy when I was younger. And so being really like a high achiever and never getting in trouble were like the ways that I felt like I gained respect and like attention from people I wanted attention from. And so I've had to really fight against that, especially, oh my God, when like you get famous and then all of a sudden you're like millions of people want to just watch you do things and like watch the content you make. How hard is that not to just feed into it where you're like, I could do every brand deal and I could make every single dollar and I could go to every appearance and man, I could just be so important. And it does. It like fills that hole in my heart that it like wants to feel important to people, even strangers. Um, but I think that the deeper you get into that job, the more you realize you're just going to get busier. It's not actually going to mean more to you and it's not going to add more value to your life. And so you have to figure out what actually adds value to your life and more of that. But more isn't more. It could actually take so much from your life if it doesn't actually add to your life. So that's kind of how I filter things through is like, is this really what I want to be doing right now? Nope. Then I'm not going to add it to my schedule.
I love that so much, especially because you've been so open about struggling with your mental health and struggling with anxiety and depression. And I've been through experiences with that as well. And as much as it sucks to struggle with your mental health, you also know yourself better if you are working on it and you're in a place where you are trying to kind of move forward and learn to cope. And then you actually know yourself on a deeper level.
Mm.
And there's that silver lining that comes out of struggle. Have you found that?
Yeah, totally. I also think on the flip side of that, I have like become over therapized. I don't know if that's even a good thing to say on this podcast, but like I feel like you get to the place where you can almost know yourself too well and you can intellectualize. I am so good at intellectualizing my feelings and my depression and anxiety. Those are very close friends to me that I know intimately. And it's like I can almost see myself as like a thing to be studied and not a person that's feeling emotions in the moment. And so to be honest, like I've gone through a process in the last year or so where I've tried to know myself less and like feel more, which is really interesting. But yeah, I think that knowing yourself is really important. And feeling comfortable with those things that make you feel like they take you out of the running for a lot of the things. Like I'll go into a hole for like months at a time. And when your income is based on how much you can make and create, just you, like a lot of it is, it's just you and me. Like no one else can make my face on a video for me. I mean, AI can, but that's a whole other conversation. That's scary. And so it's like when you go into a hole, it's like you're not making money. And that's really, really hard. And you just have to trust that like you're going to ebb and flow. And that's when knowing yourself helps, is like, we're going to have an upswing and we're going to just keep going and it's going to be fine. So yeah, it's really important. And also it's important to undo all of that and feel it as well.
Definitely. Wait, Elyse, you're hitting on something that I think I've been toying with. And by the way, we can on this podcast, we can talk about everything and question everything. So that's my favorite. But I actually want to, correct what I said, because you reminded me. Do you know Eckhart Tolle? Are you familiar with his work at all? Okay, so he has this sentence in his book, A New Earth, that I'll never forget. And it was, you can go to therapy to learn about yourself, but you won't be able to know thyself. It was something like that. And I think you're hitting on that, right? With like, we can talk about our thoughts and like these situations, but the actual piece is if you completely quiet your mind and you just experience the moment, right? Like, and that's difficult, but I've often found that my quickest way out of anxiety or ruminating or overthinking is to truly just try to stop having thoughts at all, which sounds insane, but is that like, I feel like that's what you're hitting on a little bit.
Yeah, like a great example. I've been having like some health stuff lately. And so I have a continuous glucose monitor on my arm. And randomly I was sitting in bed a couple nights ago and it shot up. Like I'm sitting totally like in a normal state. My blood sugar shot up like 100 points out of nowhere at rest, super relaxed, going to bed. I'm like, what the fuck? And I didn't realize I was so checked out of my body. Oh, by the way, having this on has shown me a direct correlation between my blood sugar and my anxiety, which sounds obvious, but I guess I just never put that in together. So I'm sitting there, that rockets, my phone alerts me like, hey, you're having like a spike and it's not going down anytime soon. And then I start like sweating and I'm like having a panic attack. And I was so checked out of my body that like I didn't know I was anxious, but I was like slowly getting anxious. And so like in my mind, I was like, I can do two things. I can either try and understand why I'm anxious, which isn't going to help. Like, I mean, it helps a little bit because you're like, how do I stop being anxious? What am I inputting that is like causing this reaction? Or I can like let my body do it and run off of the cliff of anxiety and let it go, like let it crest and then like fall. Because for me, I feel like if I'm having a panic attack come on, I have to like let it finish out, like ride it out and let it go, peak and then fall. And anytime I try and stop it and force it closed, it's like trying to force a bottle that is like full of pressure. Like it just has to explode and then it will be, the pressure's released. And so I just sat there and I just told Jonas, I was like, I'm going to have a panic attack now. And he goes, okay. And then I have it and it finishes and I'm like, okay. And then I go back to watching TV. Like I didn't sit there and I'm not journaling. Like, why did I have a panic attack today? But like a couple years ago, I would have tried to learn every single thing about it that happened so that I could not have it happen again. And then I've just at this season of my life come to terms with like, I have anxiety, whether I understand why it's happening or I don't. It's a clinical, like chemical thing in my body that sometimes it's just going to happen. And man, I spent so many years trying to undo it and to like fight against it and to avoid it. But then like the freedom of like just going with it and being like, I'm just gonna have a panic attack. Okay, it's done. And then I just go back to watching Below Deck. And it's like that feeling of letting it flow and feeling rather than intellectualizing it, or just like shutting your mind off, whatever that looks like for you, has been really powerful for me. And it's also released me from the pressure of like having to have so many fucking answers about myself all the time. Like just experiencing being alive and not having to write a college dissertation about it in my mind every day is great.
Yeah, it can be exhausting, like constantly in pursuit of your best self, because I just, like, especially with an athlete background, there's no, you're never done. You let's take the best athlete in the world, they win the championship. They will go home and watch film to see how they could have played that match better, even though they have a gold medal, right? And that pursuit is healthy at times, but it can also be exhausting. And I was actually thinking of this phenomenon. I'm sure you've heard of this, but they say when you're in a car accident, you actually have a better rate of less like bodily injury if you are more relaxed in those moments versus when you tense up. And it was making me think about how you described this panic attack. If you ride the wave of the emotion, you're probably actually going to get off the ride sooner versus you go kicking and screaming into the seatbelt,
Yeah, it totally. You spend so many years in therapy trying to understand the root cause of things. Like that is quite literally the point. You're told this idea that like if you know why, then you can fix it. And sometimes you could know why something's happening, but you don't know how to get rid of it. It just stays there. So yeah, learning to just go with the flow, ride the wave. I'm there right now. And it's actually very freeing because I spent so long doing the opposite, and it served me really well. And now I'm like, I don't care. I actually don't care why I'm anxious. I just am. I'm going to lay down for a little bit.
It sounds almost like spiritual or transcendent in a way. Do you think of it that way? I don't know like what your faith is, but
yeah, that's a really interesting thing you just said. I was hyper religious for a long time, and I deconstructed my faith and left the church, and I've never been happier in my life from getting out of the Christian church. But there was so long that my anxiety was tied to like shame, and that understanding, if I had these feelings, it must be that like I am in wrong standing with God or with some thing, like I must be doing something wrong in my life, and kind of like submitting to those feelings and learning like they can just be, like they can be separate from myself but of myself, and I can like experience them at the same time and not have to have a reason for them or offer them up to some deity and be like, heal me. It's like I can just experience them and lay down and let it ride over me, and like that's weird, and like let it go. And so I don't know if that correlates with that so much, but that is really interesting.
And it doesn't have to be like I love Rainn Wilson calls it Sky Daddy. Like it doesn't have to be to this Sky Daddy.
I love him. Oh
I know, yes. He's great. But we had a great convo on this pod about spirituality because I've struggled with that. And similar to you, I drifted even though I was in Catholic school.
What's your story with that?
I feel like I grew up pretty religious. I was Greek Orthodox and I went to Catholic school, and I prayed and I believed in God. I remember in like 7th grade and 8th grade being very inquisitive. Like the religion teacher was my favorite teacher, and I would just yap recess before school because I just couldn't comprehend like this whole God thing. And then honestly, it was like in college when I just started to realize you get out of your bubble. I at least came from a very privileged bubble. You get out of that, you start to realize there's a lot of pain and suffering, and then you grapple with the why do bad things happen to good people. I think it's C.S. Lewis has a great book on, I think it's called The Problem of Pain, which I was once told to read. I still haven't yet. Maybe I'm avoiding something.
You would like The Great Divorce. The Great Divorce I read while I was deconstructing, and it was really cool. I still love his stuff. I cannot read anybody else in that world, but like C.S. Lewis, is a great author.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out. And even Rainn Wilson was like, bad things happen to good people, so they experience resilience and they develop character and they, become who they are. Yeah. But I think now I believe in something bigger, and I almost, as you talk about your current experience, I view that almost as like a connection to Mother Nature and like the trees and the grass and like being out in the world. It's very calming, and it just works. Like even I have a friend who's pregnant, and the fact that you get pregnant and then you don't do anything. I'm not saying that pregnant women and moms don't do anything, but your body literally knows how to grow a total human being. Like you don't tell your body, okay, today let's grow the cells, let's grow the feet. Like that's magical. That's an intuition. So that's greater than us.
It's pretty crazy. I will say, having been pregnant twice, it's gotta be the closest I've ever felt to connected to everything around me. I don't know how to explain that, but like that my body was doing this. Like I was like this conduit for this life in me. Like this higher power outside of me was like making it happened in me. I'm going to sound like an insane person trying to explain it like this, but like it was just, I felt it was so cool.
Yeah. Some things you can't put to words. That's another, not to nerd out on Eckhart Tolle, but he'll be like, do you really think with the alphabet and the consonants and the vowels, we can describe how we feel as humans about certain emotions? And it's like, you can't explain the feeling you had.
It was so magical. I never want to do it again. And I did not like it, but it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That is so funny. And then you have these little people that are you. Well, and congratulations on that. I know your family is a huge priority to you. And I loved learning more about your relationship with your husband in the book. Yeah. And actually something I wanted to ask you about, because I loved this when I read it. Towards the beginning of your book, it says, to be a child is to believe, simply for believing's sake. To grow up is to question. And oh my God, there's so much said in that, Elyse, because it's like, as we get
Oh,
older, we lose our innocence, we get more cynical. I wanted to
yeah.
hear your interpretation. And even to now, you saying you're starting to stop questioning. I'm curious if your take on that has evolved.
Mm. Oh no, I'm still questioning everything. I'm questioning everything out here. I think I've done enough questioning with me to where I'm like, I cannot actually keep putting myself on this jury stand, like, and like interrogate myself all of the time. Like, I have not allowed myself many seasons of my life where I've just had peace. I have to know everything about myself, and I'm allowing myself to just kind of chill. And now I get to learn about other people and not focus on myself so much. And I think that's where that idea of like not questioning so much. But oh my God, I love that poem. Please hold your questions till the end, right?
Mm-hmm. As I read it, I was thinking about Christmas presents, Santa, just like thinking your parents are only on earth to be your parents, like, and then
Yeah.
growing up and realizing we're all humans, we all make mistakes. Like, I don't know, it was just, there's so much in it.
Yeah. I think that as I became a parent, a lot of people say you're going to understand your parents so well, like you're going to really understand what it was like and be empathetic. And I think that it did the exact opposite to me of like, yeah, I actually can't relate. Like,
Yeah.
and I thought I did. And then I had two little boys that just looked at me like I hung the fucking moon. And I'm like, I can't relate to the way it was with us. And so I think that story was like that of like, what are you going to do with all of this person's belief? Are you going to keep it safe, or are you going to give it back? And like, you are the one that gets to decide that, and you will change this person's life forever with what you do with that belief. And that story is so powerful for me. And I think it was like that shift of becoming a mom and being like, I want my life to be different. I want my kids' lives to be different. And it was really healing for me. Honestly, every story of this book was like, I never thought it would see the light of day. All these stories were things that I just wrote for myself. And I have hard drives of things like this. And then writing it and being like, this actually makes so much sense. I need to like share this. That was like how I picked every single one of these stories. And deciding to like give them to the world is so bizarre, because like it goes from this thing that's on your hard drive to this thing that now belongs to other people that will read their own meaning into it, that will see it and be talking to someone and be quoting it. Like you're quoting
Yeah.
these other incredible authors with their pieces in our conversation, which might have been sort of in context of what they meant it, but it meant something different to you. And so now you're sharing it to me, and I'm going to go read the book now. It's like,
Yeah.
how crazy is that
Yeah.
you write and then you give it to somebody else, and then it's theirs now,
Yeah.
So it's been a really special process, but it's kind of scary. You're like,
Yeah.
did you like it?
It sounds surreal. No, I was literally just going to tell you, I feel like the whole thing is a warm hug. Like,
Yeah, I love
I,
that.
I'm a fellow anxious overthinker. Am I too much? I can talk very fast. The speed at which you talk makes me feel okay as a human, because I can also talk really fast.
Yeah.
And I think like I had been called a spaz by like volleyball coaches, and like I think I've just been, that was one time, but why does it feel like it was all the time? But
It's one time too many, because you're sitting here years later thinking about it.
No,
So
like
that
literally
obviously was rude.
literally about to cry. Like, why do these things hit us so much? Like, it's crazy. But I love it. And I feel like it's so comforting. And I like the way that you have a more specific meaning. But to me, I took that quote about when you grow up, you question as like something different, but something beautiful and inspiring in that way as well. But yeah, no, I can only imagine how that feels. And also to be vulnerable and to put yourself out there is very scary. And you've been doing that for so many years now. And I know you took a break from social media and then came back. I was curious what the biggest thing you learned during your break was, and how you thought about maybe the new boundaries you set when you came back.
Yeah. From the break, when I came back, I shared a lot less of myself. At first, it definitely was not like a conscious thought. The break coincided with my son's health stuff. Going through the devastation of finding out that your son has like a heart condition in front of millions of people is a lot. It's a lot when you're going through it completely alone. But then to do it in front of so many people, it's such an exposing thing. Like it feels like you all of a sudden, something bad happens at this party in your house and there's 12 million people in your house, and all of a sudden the lights come on and you're like, holy shit, now I have to get all these people out of my house and fix this. That's like kind of how it felt. It was very bizarre. And I think I realized I don't know if I want people to be that much into my family life. I think that feels like too much for me. I think that I don't want to be home thinking about other people, about strangers when I'm home. I'm in my office right now, and when I'm here, my brain is creatively switched on. I'm thinking, what can I make? I mean, literally before this, I was filming a really funny video that I can't wait to keep editing. It's awesome. And then I go home and I'm home. Like I'm not making content about my family. I don't look at my husband and think like, when is our next date night video going to be? Like, you know, when I'm on a date with him, I'm not thinking like, oh, I want to take a picture to show that like, you know, mom and dad are on a date. Like that coming back and changing what I'm posting on the internet really changed the way that I capture memories for myself. So now when I pull my phone out with me and Jonas, like we're cooking or something, we both know that when our phone is out taking a picture of something, that photo is for me and him. We don't have to say it. We don't have to be like, I'm not going to post this. Like it really changes the way that me and him are together and home and around our children. It's been so healthy for us as a family. And on the flip side of that, it's hard because people are like, where did your family go? Are you divorced? Are you in another state? And I totally understand. I totally get it, because you go from posting something to not, there's naturally just going to be a bunch of like speculation and all that, which is frustrating, but I totally understand as well. But yeah, like pulling back how much I share of the personal side of my life that's not just me was kind of the main thing when I came back. And it's also allowed me to feel more comfy creating different kinds of content, because it's like, now it's just me on my page. Like if you want to see my husband, he has an Instagram. You can go look at it. He's awesome. He's so cute. And like, but on me, you're just going to find me. That has been really helpful for me because I feel like I have more of a personal life now, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that what you learned in that experience is, oh, wait, I actually feel like my relationship with myself and with my partner and with work thrives and feels more safe, and it clicks better in my brain when it is this way. But you didn't know that until you got there. And I think anyone who might be feeling like something isn't right, it's okay to take a step back, look at it at a high level and be like, hey, what would this look like if we did it differently? You know, or if I created or curated my day differently, or this relationship differently. And we're allowed to change our mind too. I have so much joy hearing like how centered you are right now and just how confident you're feeling. And I wanted to know maybe when it is you felt this deeper sense of self-acceptance, if there was a moment, if it was gradual. But a lot of people want to feel good in their skin. You know, they want to feel confident in who they are and enough.
Yeah. I wish that this wasn't my answer, because this isn't everyone's life journey, like, or choice in their life. The biggest shift I ever felt was having a kid, like that. And I think the bigger picture of that is I suddenly stopped caring about what everyone else thought of me in my like, I mean, I mainly am talking about like family, like the people that were my family that are now my extended family, right? Because I have my family, my unit, my husband and my kids. Like the transition into having a kid, me realizing I'm taking care of this person. So like, you want me to be at your house? Literally stop. Please don't even ask me. Like, I'm tired, you know, like I wasn't rude, but it's a very clear cut like boundary of like, no, I'm not going to be there. I have to put him to bed and I want to have time at home. Like, so I think the shift, I didn't ever give myself permission to not just say yes to people. Like I was such a chronic people pleaser that the idea of like making someone else uncomfortable by me simply saying no, like was so unfathomable. Like, I would light myself on fire to keep someone warm if that is what worked best for them. And then I'd say like, sorry, was that like the right time or should I have done it earlier? Like
light myself on fire to keep someone warm is like such the perfect metaphor and so sad as well. Like you're burning.
Totally. And then like I do it again the next day. And I think that like, yes, it was like having kids that changed that in me, the first one, but it took something outside of myself to really push myself to do that. And I wish it didn't. I wish I could have found that earlier. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, it's just crazy when I was younger, how far I would extend myself out of being comfortable, not comfortable, but to my detriment, so that everyone else was happy around me. And I was just so unhappy and empty and I had nothing to give to myself. So that was that. And then turning 30, really changed some things for me too, of like, I don't know what it was. Everyone always says that too. And I'm like, I hate that I'm saying that because it's such a cliche, but like, just the older I get, the more my brain is developed, like realizing the things that I thought were such a big deal are just not a big deal. And also getting diagnosed as autistic had really changed my life. And I did not think it would. And my God, the process to do that was so long and painful. And every single time I had an appointment, I'm like, why am I torturing myself like this? Like, why am I doing this to myself? Because it doesn't matter. And it so did. It was a piece of like knowing myself that truly was life-changing. Because there are like when you said that person called you a spaz, my thing that people would say to me was I was obsessive, like Elise's like next thing. Like Elyse had a thing, right? Like I always had my one thing where like I played viola and I would lock myself in my room and play for like 5-6 hours at a time. People would say that I was like performative in the way that I would obsess over things. Like she has to be special. She has to just love this one thing. Now knowing myself, and if any fucking person in my life when I was younger would have taken 1 second to be like, maybe this is more than just liking things. Like maybe there's something else going on here. They would have known that like I was neurodivergent and that was my hyperfixation and that was like my special interest. And like, my God, if someone would have just championed that rather than like making it seem like an inconvenience, how different my life would have been. And so it allows me to be kind to myself and set my life up in a way that serves me and my family. My husband, I'm really into ramen right now. Never had it in my life. And now I'm eating it like every meal. I come home and he bought me off Amazon ramen spoons. He's like, here's because I know that you're into ramen right now. Like, I don't have to say it. He's just buying me ramen spoons. Just because he knows I'm into it. He's like, this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So we might as well have the proper utensils to eat with. Like, I love him. I'm so obsessed with this man who does that. That is life-changing for me. Like knowing that about myself, being known like that by somebody else. I mean, anybody else that has any other opinions are just none of my business. How could they be when I've got a man buying me ramen spoons? Like, it's just awesome. So, yeah, those are some big changing things for me.
I love that so much. And I'm so glad that you got the answer that you were looking for, because I think it does bring a lot of clarity. And when we can gaslight ourselves about our own mental health or our own things we struggle with, to have that external source sometimes tell you, oh, hey, yeah, this is something we can take a deeper look at, just makes you feel that much more of a relief moving forward. So actually, I'm curious, because now this is tying into our earlier chat. How do you decide then? Because I'm both drawn to this, like, find the answer and it validates you, and this, like, turn our thoughts off and, like, just be in the moment. So what would your advice be to someone on how to figure out when is this okay for me to like talk about and figure out, and then when is it, let's take a huge deep breath and connect to our surroundings?
Yeah, I started discovering that, well, if diagnosis is important, if it leads to solutions and accommodations and like medication and some type of like help. So no matter what, that's always a positive. I was diagnosed with ADHD and I now am medicated, diagnosed with autism, and now I've been able to reorganize my life. I didn't need that diagnosis, but for myself, but then I had a child who I saw so many wonderful things in him that mirror things of my life and me. I realized like, oh, this is going to make his life easier. If there is a diagnosis in a parent, then it makes a child's diagnosis a lot easier to get into. The wait lists, insane. I mean, I'm lucky I live in Nebraska and my wait list was only like a year, but people wait 6 years. Like for a child, they don't have 6 years to wait. Like you need those accommodations now and you can't get those unless you're diagnosed. And so I got really lucky and I didn't have to wait long. And so I knew that would help my sons if there was a day where it's like, okay, let's, look at this. So I did that. But anytime like, yeah, it's going to help with your life and accommodation, do it. And then also within that, the diagnosis is also just one part of it. And it's hard because you don't know what's going to change your life. Like I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for my sons. And I'm so glad I did, And so it's like, how would I have known that unless I did it? But I think personally, if it's taking up a lot of space in your brain and you're constantly wondering and you're like, I mean, I was spending my free time doing like autism quizzes, like, and watching YouTube videos about it and reading books about it. I'd say it's a good thing to pursue. Like you're curious about it. That means you're curious. You're already searching. It's not something that you're like forcing yourself to do or someone's forcing on you. I think explore your curiosity in those ways as far as your brain wants to go. And as soon as it feels like this is becoming a chore and I am now feeling overwhelmed by this, you can know too much and your brain just shuts off, like then I would stop and I would just feel, because I think that's a really good spot for your brain to be like, hey, we're getting too intellectual about this. We need to also like emotionally catch up to the information that you're learning. And so they both kind of hold hands with each other. I don't think it's either or. I think that you have to do both. I just think that we often forget about the feeling part because it's, especially with all the information available to us. I mean, ChatGPT could friggin' diagnose you at this point, but it can't make you feel for yourself. It can't make you sit with yourself and be like, okay, what does it mean for me to be autistic? What does that mean for all the people in my life that should have caught this earlier? How am I grieving that? It can't do that for you. And so I think that's why I'm trying to push so hard on the feeling part of it now, because there's so much more emphasis on the other side of it.
Yeah, definitely. While I know you can't choose a favorite poem from your book, is there?
I already have one.
Oh, then she can.
Yeah. Have you ever wondered what it's like to date a poet?
Okay.
It's that's a good one. That's the one where if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't. Jonas quotes that to me all the time. Anytime we're being gaslit by somebody, we're just like, it's a shame she doesn't understand art. She loves it so much. Yeah, we love it.
Okay, I'm excited. I need to read that one. It reminds me of like the Daily Stoic. Like every day I could pick it up and read a poem, and I don't know how it's going to hit me. So I'm excited.
And also, I like that the stories are like intermixed in too. So it's like poems and then like long narrative stories. So it's something that you can kind of decide how long you want to be sitting and reading, which is cool.
I love that. And then I also wanted to ask you, when it comes to self-love, what's your relationship with that? Are you someone who's like, yes, I love myself? Are you more of like a self-neutrality, body neutrality type of person?
Yeah, very neutral. Very, very neutral. I think that the more neutral relationship I can have with myself, that's the greatest win. I just want to be like, there I am. I'm actively working on getting there. And I feel like I'm starting to feel like fruits of that in my life come to fruition. It's a very peaceful place to be. I tried to do the self-love, like the body positivity thing for me, and like stand in front of a mirror and like worship my body and be like, yes, I'm so fucking hot, dude. And I do say that to myself because I love saying that to myself, because if my ears hear it enough, my brain will believe it. But I think more than anything, I just want to be here. Because how great is that? I'm just here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. That's
Similarly, cannot do the in the mirror naked body affirmations.
I can't do it. I can't
never
do it.
even felt.
I feel like I'm lying, and that takes me out of it so fast. And I don't need to. You know what? Jonas can look. I'm like, just if you like what you see, great.
Yeah, literally.
Go for it, dude.
Never felt compelled to do it. Can't do it. Not my thing. But I think, and that's not a failure too. I think everyone needs to figure out what their path is to peace with themselves. That at the end of the day is like, I think the mission and the thing we want to upkeep.
It assigns too much value to something that is pretty not valuable.
Yeah.
Like, not that being attracted, it's like, yeah, you specifically are very hot, but like also you're fucking smart. You're funny. You're like incredibly talented. Like you are a great podcast host.
Oh my God,
You're
are you
creative.
talking about me? I
You,
was like,
yes, you.
oh my God,
So you. You're athletic. You're accomplished. You're driven. Like there's no equivalent of standing in front of a mirror naked and being able to do all of those things. So the physical attribute is just one little thing of it. It's like I would rather just feel neutral and like understand all of the things that you bring to the table. And all those are neutral because they're all going to ebb and flow. It's all going to go in waves. And so I think that the standing in front of the naked and like some people need to do that. Me, I just feel like it's too much. I can't.
Well, I feel so grateful that I have an Elise Meyers now audio clip of you saying that to me, because I think that is everyone's dream, because your TikToks are so motivational and inspiring, and like they're like the most gentle little like face slap in the right way. Like let's come right back to like the truth that we both know is there, and I love that.
It's like giving a little like and then slap.
Yeah, totally. It's like the most gentle. Like
yes.
Well, congratulations again. I'm so excited for you. Also,
Thank
incredible
you.
title. That's a great question. I'd love to tell you. I mean,
Love it.
It's quintessential you. So I am just wishing you the best with the launch, and I hope everyone goes and checks it out. I think there really is something for everyone in there. It is a warm hug. Who doesn't want a warm hug?
I love a warm hug. I love a cold hug sometimes too.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Good to be here.
Yay, of course. Thank you, Elyse.